Game Informer's given us a ton of new info, including more details on multiplayer in Fallout 76. Hey Vault Dwellers, JV here, and today we're discussing multiplayer in Fallout 76. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for more Fallout 76 videos just like this, follow my Facebook page for daily live streams, and our non-stop Fallout 76 playthrough, which starts right when the beta drops next month. All of the info shared today comes straight from the Game Informer article that was posted 2 days ago, so I've linked that in the description for your reference. Today's section focuses on multiplayer. We have a ton of new awesome details here today. So starting with this, Fallout 76 allows players to be lone wanderers who never interact with anyone, but it's designed with multiplayer in mind and offers a wide selection of activities for players who either team up with other players or decide to hunt them down. You can boot up a game with your closest friends to take on quests, build settlements, and engage in events. If you guys caught my video from yesterday, early in the article, they do talk about solo play, so this is kind of the section designed for multiplayer. This is not kind of, the only topic and they're trying to push multiplayer. But again, this is a game designed with multiplayer in mind. This is not your typical Fallout game, and they've said that from the beginning. Next up, Todd Howard talks about events. Events are something new to the Fallout experience. When you get near one, it starts broadcasting for help. It's like a timed multiplayer quest. As you explore the world, you'll be alerted of them occurring nearby, or you may see some appear on your map. Most are geared for teams, but some may require more players to converge on an area. Bethesda doesn't want to reveal exactly what we can expect from events, but we do know that some appear at random times and places, whereas others appear in specific places and at specific times. Once you discover one, you can fast travel to it. So as it's described here, events are multiplayer activities that are geared for teams. Sometimes you'll need more than just one team in order to complete them, so I don't think you're going to be able to do this solo. Cover your ears if you don't want to hear that nasty D word. It's an Activision game, Bungie game. This is like Destiny. It's like a public event, so it's going to broadcast. You're going to see it somewhere on your screen, somewhere on your map, and it's timed. That is pretty much exactly what a public event is. And then we also learned that there's some predictability. We'll know where some of these happens at specific times, but some of them will be random. And I also like that you can fast travel to these places once you discover them. It's not something you're gonna have to keep going back and forth and making the same trip for. Jeff Gardner describes one of the events. He says you'll get a call about robots in distress, and you'll basically have to go and escort them to various locations. If they live in the end, you get a reward. That's a random event that will spawn. Some people will join you or not. And he says the robots have a lot of character. They're sort of the levity of the mission. You'll follow along and they'll make little comments to you. Continuing with the Destiny analogy, I like the idea of this because it's more variety. We're going to various locations. It's not just stay in one spot and complete an event. Again, that's a public event in Destiny. Some of them move around a small area, but I'd like to do some escort-related stuff with other people. I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun. And perhaps the most important detail about the events is that they give the best rewards. If you're looking for better loot and don't have a firm grasp of crafting yet, you want to engage in events. That means becoming part of the multiplayer experience, as most can't be completed solo. There you have it. I know some people are really not going to like the idea of that, but some of the best rewards are from a multiplayer activity. And so Bethesda is pushing you towards playing with other people. And again, I've pretty much described this game from the start as a Fallout game that you can play with other people. This is more of a push in the other direction. This is a Fallout game that they want you to play with other people, especially with a decision like this. Up to 4 people can team together, all of the content factors in the group dynamic, even quests. The team leader can queue up a mission which every party member sees and can engage if they so choose. Should you get separated from your friends or need to travel great distances to your settlement or a hub to resupply your gear, you can immediately fast travel back to any one of your teammates. I thought that tidbit about the leader queuing up the mission and the party member can choose to do it or not was super unique. That is usually not a thing you see in these types of games. That's usually like an MMO mechanic. But in a game, like Destiny, if you start a mission with a group, you're all doing it. You can't just go off and do your own thing. You get sucked in. It sounds like that's not the case in this game. I was also curious about the fast travel mechanic, and here we have it. You can fast travel to any of your teammates, which is really cool. I didn't really think that would be the case, but it is. You can fast travel to your teammates or to locations. Here we get info on zoned areas. This is more of a zoned game and more level jumped than our previous stuff, Todd Howard says. Some of the feedback we've gotten is, I'm just going to run across the map. I died. It got hard. There's a reason for that. We have higher level zones. That's not to say that the game won't factor in your level. If you enter a zone, things may spawn between level 40 and 60 depending on your level. If you enter that area at a lower level, well, you're in for a hell of a fight. If you're in a group, the first player in sets the ranges. If that player leaves the area, the next player in changes the level. Bethesda says the game is divided into 6 regions but wouldn't give specifics for it. Howard did say that cranberry bogs are really, really hard. So this is level scaling, and it's kind of changed between each Fallout game. In Fallout 4, there was kind of zoned areas. There certainly were zoned areas, but also there was a rubber band. There was kind of a minimum and a maximum that you would even encounter. However, sometimes you would come across like a skull where it's like, okay, you don't want to face that thing because it's just going to wreck you. You're not going to deal enough damage. But in this game, it's harsher. That's the idea. So if you run into Cranberry Bog at level 10, you're going to get wrecked. There's not going to be kind of a mini safety net there to allow you to get away. You're just going to get one-shotted. I think everyone was curious how this would work in a multiplayer setting, and now we know. If you're in a group, the first player that goes in that area sets the range. So I wonder if we're going to get a notification for that, or if we're just going to have to run into enemies and be like, oh, that level to Johnny's level, not my level, for example. And then if that player leaves, then it auto recalculates to the next person, I guess. So that's interesting. We'll have to see how that works in practice. And before we move to the next point, does that mean that we can get our higher level buddies in to power level us through certain areas? Because if I'm the first player in an area, I'm level 6 and my buddy's level 40, then my level 40 buddy is fighting level 6 enemies. He should be one-shotting everyone. So we'll have to see again how that works. Our final bit of information for this video, while teams are limited to just 4 players, you can technically play with other people on your system's list. You just can't group up with them in the game. Don't expect to see people everywhere. It's definitely not an MMO with hundreds of players running around a server. We have 24 players on one server on a map that's 4 times the size of Fallout 4. You'll see other players sometimes, but we hope it's not common. So there is a confirmation on the number. I believe we were bouncing between 24 and 32. I think a lot of people assumed 32 because it sounded like, oh, you know, we want more people. But Bethesda has said now, right here, it's 24 players per server, which I like. It's on the lower end. So let's think about this in a multiplayer context with groups. That's a potential of 6 4-man teams on one server. That's really not a lot for a map that's 4 times the size of Fallout 4. Let's say there are 3 4-man teams, 3 2-man teams, and the rest are solo. Again, that's really not a lot. And if you're a solo player and this sounds worrying to you, think about it this way. If more people are in groups in your server, that's more likely that they're going to be in one single area, which means it's less likely that you're going to run into them. Of course, people in groups don't have to roll together. As we saw, they can actually complete quests individually. They don't all have to be sucked into one. However, again, if there are 5 4-man teams on your 24-man server, that means there's potentially, 4 solo players out there, then you're limiting the amount of groups that are occupying certain areas. I hope that makes sense. So before we wrap up the video, overall thoughts, I think this all sounds great. I think there is going to be some backlash in terms of the game pushing you and incentivizing you to play multiplayer, not play alone. We know there's Lone Wanderer, but there doesn't seem to be any incentive to play by yourself, which again, I know a lot of people are not going to like. Personally, me as a gamer who is going to play Fallout 76, I don't care. I'm going to play with other people. I'm going to play with you guys on stream. And so that's not something that concerns me, but I realize that the community cares deeply about that. So I hope we learn of some kind of solo incentives for classic Fallout gamers. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. In the comment section below, tell me what you think of multiplayer events in Fallout 76. Do you like the way they are described? Are you going to go and participate in these in order to get the best loot? Share your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, remember to subscribe for more Fallout 76 content, like my last video where we discuss why Fallout 76 is still a Fallout game and an RPG. Follow my Facebook page for daily live streams and our non-stop Fallout 76 playthrough, which starts right when the beta drops next month. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.